Hey, welcome back. The effort to ban TikTok is still working its way through Congress, and there are several avenues so far to do that. One is called the Restrict Act, which would give the feds the chance to review, address, and block dealings with foreign info and national security risks. Not everybody's on board with the idea. Let's bring in my guest tonight. He's live. He's a Young Voices contributor, Samuel Mangold-Leonard, up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. Good to see you, Samuel. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Where are you joining us from tonight?
So I am from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Aha, right there on the Ohio River. Quite familiar with that.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you. So let's talk about this. We've seen a bipartisan effort to ban TikTok in some way, shape, or form. First of all, do you think the federal government should ban TikTok?
So personally, yes. I think it's a matter of pretty important national security. It's very well documented at this point how China is using it to spy on the American public and just steal our national security data. But the Restrict Act is not an effective ban, and blatantly, frankly, it's not a ban at all. It lays some pretty scary infrastructure, though, for how the government could potentially overreach and further erode digital security and digital privacy rights.
So in terms of this bill, because again, there are many different proposals out there, and we know that House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who obviously decides what gets voted on in the House at this point, has said he would like to see a ban put into place. Again, it's just the mechanisms of how you go about doing this. So the Restrict Act itself, who's behind it and why? It really seems like they're trying to do a carve-out here where it wouldn't necessarily ban it outright, or would this ban it outright, the Restrict Act?
It wouldn't. It's not an outright ban.
Gotcha.
Just not at all. It's not an outright ban. It's very vague in its language as to what it would accomplish. What it does is it gives the Secretary of Commerce and the Director of National Intelligence pretty broad power to define entities and potentially individuals as foreign adversaries. And from there, it establishes a framework of censure and potential legal fines and potential criminal suits through which a potential divestment process may begin, but that's all hypothetical. There is nothing explicitly being banned through the Restrict Act.
We should point out, too, that Virginia Senators Mark Warner and Tim Kaine are both co-sponsors, as well as West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito. She's one of the ones promoting that idea as well. Do you think that we have a Congress right now, Samuel, that knows how to deal with big tech? Do we have people that have adjusted with the times? Or is this foreign to many of them when you look at legislating what has become, a fast-moving industry?
I think they're generally aware of how to work with big business. I think the ins and outs of the tech sector are a little lost on them. I think they're generally able to grasp these concepts. I think it's more so, the terminology and the more subtle nuance of it all. But big picture, I think they're able to grasp it. It's more so a matter of, this is pretty late stage. Things like TikTok should have been banned on day one. And now it's a matter of catching them up on terminology and these more complicated concepts when that should have already been accomplished 2 or 3 years ago.
And this was something that former President Trump had said that they were going down this path. They decided to hold off on it again, and then now you have the Biden administration picking up on doing this once again. So what would be the most effective way if you were to put into place a ban of TikTok and shut it down here in the United States? What's the most effective mechanism to do that? Is there something proposed that you think is a better alternative?
Yeah, definitely. So Senators Josh Hawley from Missouri and Marco Rubio from Florida have both proposed bans that give the president emergency powers to explicitly ban TikTok and ByteDance, TikTok's parent company. Well, Senator Hawley's does. Marco Rubio's is less strict on ByteDance, but both would specifically target, or rather explicitly target TikTok and foreign adversary tech companies that are being used to, spy on American interests. Hawley's also allows, or rather Rubio's allows for TikTok to be monitored for further intelligence use. And Hawley's would incorporate an aspect of the intelligence apparatus and require them to frequently brief Congress as to what is the status of our data breach.
And obviously, ByteDance also rolled out another app called Lemonade, which I've seen people downloading as well. And you know, as there's all this back and forth, the question is these other apps that they're putting out there, because I know it's not just TikTok that ByteDance is running. That's going to be a big question as we move forward from here. Samuel Mangold-Lennett's piece on this is in the Federalist. I'm going to tweet out a link to that. Thank you for joining us tonight on this one. Clearly something we are not done talking about, but the conversation continues, and I'm sure this is going to pick up speed when Congress returns to session later this month.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Our pleasure. And the Final Five is back after this.